Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 172.
I'm Daphne.
And I'm Fred. Today we're looking at an idea suggested by our show producer, Kurt Robbins, that really gets to the heart of strategy and capital. It's all about the non-negotiable power of timing.
It is. And our main source for this is a LinkedIn article. It's titled, Why Timing Has Become the Most Valuable Currency, and it was published back on December 19th, 2025, by Ronnie Dumaguin, a Chief Business Development Officer.
And the core idea here is, well, it's pretty provocative. Dumaguin argues that when a company decides to act is actually more important than the strategy itself.
More important than the strategy, and even more important than how much money you throw at the problem.
So the argument is that companies lose more value, way more value, from being too slow than from, say, a flawed strategy.
Exactly. It completely reframes timing. It's not just some detail on a calendar. It's the thing that multiplies your return, or if you get it wrong, just drains your capital on expensive fixes.
That right there points to a huge contradiction in how most companies work, doesn't it? I mean, we're all trained to think in these neat annual or semi-annual cycles.
It's an old rhythm. And the source makes it clear that it's an obsolete rhythm. You have this fundamental mismatch between how decisions are made and what's actually happening on the ground.
So what does that speed actually look like? I mean, how fast are we talking?
Well, think about it. Markets can shift weekly. Your global cost structures for materials or energy, they're moving maybe monthly.
Okay.
But then supplier lead times for critical parts, that can fluctuate daily. And your own internal operations, asset performance, things like that, that's changing hourly.
So if your investment committee only meets twice a year, you're basically guaranteed to be working with old news.
Completely. The whole focus has to shift. It can't be, is it budget season yet? It has to be, what is the operation telling us right now?
Right. So let's get into the hidden costs of getting that wrong. Because there's this belief, especially in more conservative leadership, that delaying a big spend is the safe, prudent move. It protects cash.
And that belief is it's not true. And it's expensive. Delaying almost always drives up the total cost of ownership and makes the whole organization less resilient.
So these costs are kind of compounding silently in the background until, boom, there's a crisis.
Exactly. And that's the aha moment.
Okay, so let's get into some real examples here, because I think this is where it really clicks for people.
Let's start with maintenance. It's the easiest one to see. If you invest proactively, predictive maintenance, scheduled overhauls, you control the cost. But if you wait until after something breaks,
You're in emergency mode.
You're paying for overtime, for expedited shipping, for shutdown costs. The source says it costs multiples more. That difference is basically a tax you pay for hesitating.
That makes perfect sense. What about something like automation?
That's another great one. Delaying a big automation project by just 12 months can often double the effective cost of putting it in.
Double. Why so much?
Well, because the technology changes, vendor prices go up, and migrating all your data from an even older system gets way more complex. You're not saving money for a year. You're just setting yourself up for a much bigger bill later.
And you're losing all the benefits you would have gotten during that year. It's not just the 2 years of savings you lose from a 2-year delay.
No, you lose the whole compounding effect, the efficiencies, the competitive edge you would have built during that time. It's an exponential loss.
So this slow timing is really just moving costs around. It takes money that should have been a productive capital expense, a CapEx.
And it shoves it into the operational budget, the OPEX. It becomes downtime, inefficiency, emergency purchases. It's a real measurable cost that's just disguised as being careful.
So leaders need to stop asking, can we delay this? And start asking, what's the actual cost of delaying this by 3 months?
That is the critical shift in mindset. But, to understand why it's so hard to do, we have to look at the human element here, the biases.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast.
So, before the break, we were talking about how delaying investments isn't saving money, it's just moving the cost into operational chaos. And the source claims the biggest reason for that delay is what it calls comfort as the most expensive bias.
Meaning companies invest late not because the data isn't there, but because the leadership team just doesn't feel comfortable yet. They need more confirmation.
Right. And the signals are always there long before the decision gets made. I mean, you can see it. Maintenance reports show failure rates creeping up.
Finance is flagging higher operating costs on old equipment.
Exactly. Operations sees productivity starting to wobble. Supervisors are saying they have skill gaps for the aging machines. The information is there.
But leadership waits until those little signals become a big, loud crisis, a headline failure. That's when it feels safe to act.
And that's the confirmation trap. By the time you have that undeniable confirmation, you've already paid a huge price, and the window for a real strategic win has slammed shut. You have to learn to trust the trajectory, not wait for the crash.
That takes a lot of discipline, though.
Yeah.
And, frankly, courage to move when things are just getting worse, not when they're totally broken. How much of this is just bureaucracy getting in the way?
Oh, a huge amount. The article calls this decision latency. It's that hidden delay between when the information shows up and when the company actually does something about it. It just destroys value.
And what causes that latency? It can't just be people being slow.
No, it's structural. It's things like, a culture of risk aversion, where saying no is always safer for your career than saying yes.
Long approval chains, slow budgeting.
Right, and overanalysis. That endless search for 99% certainty when moving at 75% certainty would have given you a much better outcome.
So how do you fix that? You can't just tell everyone to be faster.
You have to redesign the system. The source suggests a few things. First, you set clear financial thresholds for certain investments to bypass the annual budget process entirely.
So you're decentralizing the decision for known issues.
Exactly. Second, you empower teams to make decisions weekly, not quarterly. And third, and this one is key, you create automatic trigger conditions.
Automatic triggers, what would that look like?
Well, imagine a rule that says, if a machine's unplanned downtime goes over, say 15% in 1 month, it automatically triggers a replacement review.
So you're taking the politics out of it and tying it directly to the operational data.
You're anchoring the decision to facts. And when you do that, you start to see a company's real strategic identity.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, you see two types of companies. The ones with late timing are always present-centric. Their budget goes to damage control, crisis management, replacing things that should have been replaced years ago.
They're always playing defense.
Constantly. But the companies with on-time timing are future-centric. They're funding new capabilities, resilience, competitive strength. Their capital is on offense.
That brings us to the final point, I think, which is that timing becomes a competitive weapon. It multiplies the impact of every dollar you spend.
A timing mistake costs you more than an allocation mistake. Think about it. A company that has the discipline to replace its vehicle fleet during an economic downturn gets lower prices.
Right, and higher lifetime returns on every vehicle.
Or the company that installs predictive maintenance before a major breakdown. They don't just save on one repair bill, they prevent years of potential catastrophic downtime.
So the big takeaway here seems to be that the companies who win in the future won't necessarily be the ones with the biggest budgets.
No, they'll be the ones with the discipline to act on early signals, instead of waiting for consensus or for a crisis to hit the headlines.
Timing isn't just a variable anymore. It's a whole leadership philosophy that you can only see through action.
It really is. It's the new currency.
Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.